Hey, this is Joe.
And this is Evan.
And this is the Nonsensory Podcast. On this episode, could a potential marketing report have leaked the release window for GTA 6? BlizzCon gets canceled, and Sony officially announces when they'll show off games for the PS5. We also have a new segment, Nonsensory Recommends, where we list off a few pieces of entertainment we totally dig that you should check out. That and much more ahead. So stick around and let's get to it.
Greetings and welcome to episode 9 of Nonsensory Podcast. If you aren't already, you can subscribe to us on podcast services iTunes and Spotify, and we're happy to announce we're now on Stitcher. You can also find us on YouTube by searching Nonsensory. On social media, we tweet at Nonsensory1, and you can find us on Facebook at Nonsensory Podcast. You can also support us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/nonsensorypod. We have 4 tiers of membership ranging from $1 to $20, and perks ranging from getting to vote in polls to getting to read a personal greeting at the start of the show. You like that? I can't remember which word I ate, but it was. I think it was membership or maybe ranging.
It was ranging.
Ringing.
Ringing.
You get 4 tiers membership ranging from $1 to $20.
The pre-show is intense. We don't have one yet, but we need to.
we really do. So we're getting into it. Joe, how are you? Silliness aside, no more silliness. This is a serious man's podcast. Joe, clink glasses with me, Joe. I love you. Okay, so how's your day been? It's Wednesday, May 27th, 2020.
Yes, an unusual recording day.
Yeah, so we have personal things to attend to this weekend, so we're recording a couple days early. And yeah, so you'll get your news a couple days early. Maybe there will be some other stuff that happens during the end of the week. We'll cover it on next week's show. It's all good. It's all good. No worries, man.
We just don't want you guys to be without a show.
Correct.
So it's all about you guys.
Right. So, Joe, how's your day been so far? You worked?
Yep, I'm straight from the tar pits.
Just got the boot was on your head.
Oh yeah. But it was a good day.
Yeah.
It was a good day. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm still like, do you okay?
Yes.
Before we get into your day, have you ever had this? Have you? when you spent like a long weekend like drinking, not necessarily like getting like super drunk, but just drinking, okay?
This is like tangentially related to our previous podcast.
And you like you go a couple of days without a drink, and like you just.
I don't know what that feels like.
Okay, well then never mind.
No, go on, come on.
It's like you start feeling like everything's really negative.
Yeah, you start getting like all cloudy.
Yeah, like am I an alcoholic?
No, you're not an alcoholic.
Okay.
Wednesdays suck, man.
Okay.
And you know what was really good this weekend? Drinking. And you know what you want to do? Drink another thing. Drink another. There we go.
Alrighty.
Okay.
I hope that clink shows up. Okay, so how have you been, buddy?
My day was like every other day, man. Just, got to work, made it through my shift, came home, did some stuff. That was about it. Contractor came by.
Oh, yeah.
Scared me with all these numbers and stuff. Yeah.
I won't say anything out loud, but was the number at least a little more reasonable? Oh, wait, that was for something else.
No, he's gave me like off the top of his head stuff, but he's coming back. He's supposed to get a hold of me next week with like an actual inventory kind of thing.
Okay, cool.
To go with what we're going to do. So
cool. Is the pool going to go?
I think the pool's going to go.
The pool should go.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, guys. Hey, I'm crying. I know you're crying tears into your wine glass for me. Oh, he's losing his pool. Poor guy. But, I don't know, man. It's Hot Tub Time Machine makes water-based receptacles that you hang out in sound so much cooler than what they are. It's just a giant pain in the ass.
Yeah, that, and it's like, okay.
If we had commenters, somebody in the comments would be like, what are you talking about? Pools are so great. And I'd be like, yeah, if you're taking care of them. If you are, not me.
Yeah, setting it up, cleaning it, and okay.
This chair is so worn because I'm so lazy. I'm just saying. That's
No, here's the thing. Pool came with the house, but pool takes up entire yard.
Yeah.
Entire yard, literally.
And also, like, the pool is many, many gallons of water. That's what pools are.
Yep.
And
that's not cheap.
Well, it's not just the water cost. It's the fact that, like, if it were to bust. We have insurance and stuff, but like I don't want to go through having to get all
and then you
kinds
got
of
to
stuff.
deal with other people's insurance because that's going to flood other people's yards.
If I ever decided to sell this house, I have to be like, I got to go up to people and basically be like, do you like pools? Every time to every person.
Do you like pools? I got a big one.
Oh, if you don't like pools, it's kind of a deal breaker, guy. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So, I don't know. That got off on a tangent about pools, but
okay.
Whatever.
So let's get to it. We're gonna try to burn through this news a little bit quicker than normal. But we're coming right off of doing an episode. So there's not
news
much.
is kind of limited, but we also are going to do a little segment that we like to call Nonsensory Recommends towards the end of the episode, where we just go through like 3 things that we think that you should check out: a TV show, a movie, and a game.
Yep.
Basically, and it's just we'll give you like a brief spiel, and it's not a recent thing or anything. It can be like anything that we've ever viewed. Maybe you'll be like, oh, I've seen that. That's really cool. Or maybe you'll be like, I haven't seen that.
And that's the idea.
That's the idea.
Expose you to greatness.
You can either have us, tell you about something that you already really like, or you maybe can find something new.
We want to expose you to our greatness.
We want to expose ourselves to you.
And expose you to the greatness of the things that we love. So
wait till you see what we can do with this wine bottle.
Oh goodness.
We're just gonna finish this, right? Can you? There's like this much left. I'm gonna top you off, and okay. I thought you were gonna finish the whole thing. I was
thinking about it.
So this is this is the white girl edition of the Nonsensory podcast that we're happy to announce. Wednesday recordings are always going to be this way, right?
Yeah. I don't know. There's something about coming off the energy of work, because you think work beats you down, but doing this, what I'm trying to get at here.
What you're getting at, I agree with, in that you have it's like when a dog takes a dump and they get the zooms.
Oh my god!
And they're like, "Oh yeah, I can keep doing this," and then they come back down to earth a little bit, and then they go and sleep on the couch, and they sleep it off. That's what Gordon does.
The last time we had to do this, the next day, I was so tired.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this is gonna be.
Also, when you're in your 30s, you have this energy, and then it's the sharpest decline afterwards. It's the steepest incline down.
It's a needle.
In energy level.
It's literally a needle if you look at it on a graph. Okay.
Today's episode is brought to you by Tales from the Arcanist and thearcanist.io. The Arcanist serves up bite-sized science fiction, fantasy, and horror from independent authors all over the globe. Everything is about a 5-minute read or less, so these little bite-sized tales are easy to binge when you have a moment on your lunch break, or perhaps when you're planted firmly on the toilet. The Arcanist also has essays about modern culture, the art of writing, the history of fiction, and much more. Their weekly fiction podcast, Tales from the Arcanist, is a similarly bite-sized listen that collects 2 stories, one brand new and one from their archive, and delivers the spooky and strange fresh to your ears. To check out thearcanist.io or to submit a work of your own, visit the link in the description. You can find their podcast, Tales from the Arcanist, there as well, or find it on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, or Apple Podcasts.
So our first bit of news.
Joe's going to take it.
Sorry. You're taking the next one.
Oh. Gonna need more wine.
The Last of Us Part 2, apparently banned in the Middle East. This is a game from Game Industry. Okay, and I'm just going to pull this up here.
Gamesindustry.biz.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Article by James Batchelor? So not Bachelor. Bachelor.
He's the Bachelor.
No, it's it's spelled like batch, like a batch of cookies.
Right. But
he's like a batch of bachelors, which that doesn't sound like an appetizing thing at all.
Ugh, no, if anything, they're overcooked.
Okay, not trying to get on anybody here.
Yeah.
All right. Not except you. All right.
Except some bachelors.
PlayStation Adventure The Last of Us Part 2 seems to have been blocked from release in multiple Middle Eastern countries. The game is due to launch globally on June 19th. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I can't wait.
right around the corner.
Why is it so far away, though?
I didn't feel like that until seeing the last
It's
video.
coming out the day after we get back from like a thing.
Yeah.
You know? I can't wait.
But currently does not appear among the listings for Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates versions of the PlayStation Store. You can still buy dynamic themes and avatars based on the game, and the PlayStation Arabia Twitter account is still promoting tomorrow's State of Play broadcast, which is weird, which will go into more detail about the title. One Reddit user spotted by VG247, 24/7, I suppose, reports that PlayStation support. Oh my goodness, I can't talk today. Reports that PlayStation support said any game that does not appear in a regional store has been banned by the completed authorities of the country. Competent authority. Completed.
They're the complete authorities.
And we cannot do anything regarding that. No reason for the ban has emerged yet, although it is most likely due to either the nudity and sexual content mentioned in the ESRB rating, as can be seen on the official website, or the LGBT themes that often lead to entertainment products being banned in the region. As VG247 notes, the ban may not harm the game's sales in the area, as prepaid PlayStation Store game cards can be purchased online from other markets that still work on regional stores. There are also third-party retailers in the area that will import copies of the game from overseas. So my first reaction to this, you've already heard, but I'm going to say it again. This is exactly why you should have a VPN. If your authorities are trying to tell you you can't access a piece of content for reasons you don't agree with, they can't do anything.
Are VPNs available in these kind of countries? I don't know.
I'm not sure about that, but I mean,
like, I don't really know. That would be an interesting thing to find out, because, like, you know, in authoritarian countries and stuff, like,
I mean, I'm sure they have ways of cracking down. I
don't know if they're necessarily cracking down, or if they're like obviously the culture doesn't look at it the way that we do here in America. But at least, like, there are plenty of people that are out there that are already upset about The Last of Us 2 because of LGBT stuff and there being, like, two women having a relationship and stuff. And I don't think you need to go to the Middle East to have people, like, freak out about that stuff. But the difference is that we can still buy it if we want here.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I'm pretty libertarian in my views of a lot of things, and whether or not I agree with anything, which, like, I don't care. Like, and that's the point. As a libertarian, it's like, it's not my business what you do and what you buy and what you play. And I'm personally looking forward to this game. This isn't me saying, "Oh, I'm against their gay relationship." I'm saying, like, I'm totally opposed to the idea that any authority can tell you what you can and cannot consume.
Yeah, completely agree. It's dumb. And that's why I'm happy to live in America.
Yeah. America, like, as much crap as America gets lately, I mean, this is where we excel.
I mean, again, I don't want to dwell on it too long, but I want to make sure that, like, there are definitely people here that believe the same stuff is what they're saying here, you know, that believe that we shouldn't be able to view this kind of stuff. And I'm just happy that those voices aren't who make the decisions here. You know, like, it sucks that people are so against LGBT stuff.
I agree with you.
Right.
Like, what I'm saying is, I'm libertarian. Like, I feel like the government has no right stepping into anybody's business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm a pretty religious guy. I don't believe that they should be putting their nose into my religious practices.
Right.
Back off.
Yeah.
And, like,
or, like, your sexual preferences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't have anything to do with what I want to, you know. Do.
Yeah. And, like, I'm a religious guy. I'm Christian. And the game heavily focuses on, like,
and you still want to play it,
and I still want to play it because, like, that's not, like, as
it's a piece of art.
Exactly. And the game's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like,
I can't wait. When we finish this episode, we are watching that State of Play.
Okay.
We're going to try to get an episode of just us on watching the State of Play up as soon as we can.
This is not a guarantee, but we are going to watch it and we are going to record our reactions, and whether or not that makes it in as an episode kind of lies in copyright issues and other whatnot. But we are going to try.
Right.
So
fair point. Okay.
Moving on.
Okay. So the next piece of news is that No Man's Sky is coming to Game Pass in June. This is from Eurogamer, written by Emma Kent. From its rocky reception in 2016 to renewed popularity after a series of significant updates, No Man's Sky has had a pretty spectacular trajectory, one that's set to reach new heights as the game is now coming to Xbox Game Pass. We have seen countless travelers join together to survive, explore, trade, and base build together, never more so than when we released the Beyond update, our 8th major free update in 2019, Murray wrote. For those, that's Sean Murray, director of Hello Games. I don't know if he's CEO or whatever, but he's a big guy at Hello Games.
He started the company.
Right. For those who have already jumped into No Man's Sky on Xbox One, I want to say thank you for being on this journey with us these past few years. Our small team have had many more exciting things to come and can't wait to show you what we've been working on.
And that launching on Gamecast
Gamecast.
Oh my goodness.
What is that? Is that new?
That's my new service. Launching on Game Pass, it's also going to have a few updates. That was also in the article, but I didn't get that in the cut.
It's all good.
Because
how do you feel about that? Are you gonna have you played this yet?
So there was so much negativity surrounding. Like, I was initially going to buy this when it came out. Actually, Hazel was planning on buying it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was glad that she didn't when the news first started breaking, and everybody, this game is not everything they said it was going to be, and there was that huge scandal. And there are lots of games that promise a lot of things before they come out that end up not delivering those things. And actually, Last of Us was one of them. I think I kind of touched on that last week. That the E3, if you go back and watch the E3 gameplay, and then what you actually got, like, they were totally different things. And that happens all the time. I just think that they kind of...
So I bought the game whenever it came out.
You did have it.
I bought the game when it came out. I played it for like 40 hours and I loved it. And I wrote a review for it for Gamer Assault Weekly when I was there. Okay. And I gave it a glowing review. And then I went back and wanted to change my review, but I didn't. I didn't, because that was my... Like, when it was time for me to write my review, it's one of those games that's like an endless game where you can't, I could keep playing it for, hundreds of hours if I wanted to. But I felt like I had seen enough of the experience and experienced enough of the experience up until that point that I stopped playing, that I had stopped playing because of a reason. And I felt like I needed to mention that in my review. And so I basically said, this game is fine, and for what you do for the first bunch of hours, it's great, but then those things become apparent that you're going to do them ad nauseum forever. And that's not what I wanted. And I'll say that, like, I was happy with what they delivered and stuff like that as like an experience, but it wasn't for me. It might be more for somebody like you or Hazel that's like, you're into Animal Crossing and stuff like that, where it's more, I don't want to say mundane because it sounds like, I'm putting it down or something.
I know what you mean. But that right there is exactly why my good buddy Stubbs actually said that he stopped playing the game, was because it was like, I go to planet, do all these actions so that I can leave planet, go to next planet, do all the same stuff so I can leave, so I can go to the next. And
that's what it was. And
yeah.
And I mean, I know that there's people out there that's fine. That's perfectly enough for them.
Yeah.
They use it as a way to like relax. People love to call this game like a chill game, where they just hang out and just unwind in the world and whatever. I think a lot of the updates have kind of gone towards that, with like stuff that you can build and all stuff like that, more than like combat and stuff like that.
I'm kind of interested in checking it out now that they've had time to flesh it out a little bit and make adjustments. But I was going to say something, but
for me, I wouldn't look at it again, even after all the stuff that they've added, just because like I'm looking for like an action loop,
right,
in the game, and there is that.
We've already figured out that we're different people there.
Right. So when I know that there's no combat with other stuff other than like some
Sorry, a little under.
It's okay.
Under table action. Going.
I know when we're not like when you're not going to get into like combat with stuff on like on planets and stuff, and you're just going to like randomly run into ships and atmosphere and fight them in like little dogfights. Like I don't care about that. I want like actual. I want to actually fight stuff that is like actually challenging instead of just being like just a thing that's just there. And you know, I kind of got a little peeved about it because they promised like multiplayer where you could meet up with friends.
Yeah, that's the part that I think most people were upset about from seeing what they originally promised, was that the fact that everything was like, I saw this coming before it actually came out. Not to toot my own horn, but it's like you're talking about basically an infinitely expansive universe.
Yeah.
And somehow people are going to bump into each other. When's that supposed to happen?
I think long story short with this game is that they sold us some goods that weren't actually there, but
no,
they ended up delivering something that was still good at the end.
I actually was, by bringing up Last of Us, I was trying to say that I don't think they were trying to sell us anything that wasn't there. I think everyone kind of hypes things up a little more or I don't know the words that I'm looking for. Everyone seems to promise a little bit too much.
Yeah, for
at
sure.
the start.
I mean, but that's just a problem throughout the industry. It's like, you know, we should expect that by now, but it sucks that we have to expect it, where they're going to oversell on a product, and you know,
you're right. But I will say, as far as the repetitiveness of the game, I mean, we were talking about Watch Dogs. Also
repetitive.
Also, it's a very. I only played the first one. I really loved the game. I thought it was really fantastic, but it does end up getting into this loop where it's like, okay, repeat,
right.
rinse, repeat. And I don't know. I mean, how far like you said, that was after like 40 hours of the game that you stopped playing.
Right. So I paid $60 for that game and I got 40 hours out of it. And like, that's pretty good.
I mean, there are people who are happy paying $60 for a 6-hour experience.
Just because I couldn't play it forever doesn't mean it wasn't worth $60. You know,
right.
It's more like if you were expecting it to be the thing that you would play forever, you got to know that like this is what it is the whole time.
Right.
You know. So,
okay. All right.
But it's cool that it's on Game Pass and people can check it out if they want to. It is a cool experience. I don't know if it'll be for you, but it is an experience that is worth at least.
I'm gonna at least check it out.
Right.
I mean, it's on Game Pass. I mean, it's on Game Pass. Why wouldn't I at least check it out?
Right.
And that's why you should get Game Pass. Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor, even though we mention it every episode, if not every other episode.
That's why I feel like we have to say every time. So are we going to cover the BlizzCon thing? I feel like we'll at least mention it. It's officially canceled. That's no surprise. I mean,
yeah. So BlizzCon's officially canceled. They said that basically what everybody has said that's canceled a convention. You know, our employees and people that are coming to these events, their health is of top priority. We're going to hold an online event. We don't know when that's going to be. But in the meantime, check out Shadowlands when it launches, basically.
Whatever. I'm not going to parrot something I've heard anyone else say. I was getting ready to.
So I'll just real quick. It's you know, it's typical at this point. There have been so many of these conventions canceled, and so many of them have promised like online stuff, and it seems like none of that stuff has happened really yet. But now that we know, like, okay, it's another new piece of with this next piece of info that we're going to have in the news. I feel like these conventions are actually going to start rolling soon, and it's going to be actually like, okay, enough talk. Now we're going to get into the actual game soon. And I'm excited for that.
My thought, I mean, this just kind of occurred to me. E3, they had the opportunity, maybe, they could have gone to their vendors and to the various companies, and tried to actually cobble everything together to do an electronic thing. They had that
like an
opportunity.
electronic E3.
Yeah, I mean,
I think they could have. Sorry, I think they could have, and I think that maybe they will. Because speaking personally from my experience so far with this, like the more little things get announced as online conventions and stuff like that, the less interested I'm in them.
exactly.
I just want there to be a thing where I can see all of it.
Exactly. They should have jumped on this a lot sooner, I think, to try to bring everything together, because now everyone is saying, "Oh, we can do our own little thing," but the more people that say it, the less people are interested. If you can tell everyone, "Hey, look, doing this on your own, yes, it's easy, but no one cares. Let's all do it together."
Well,
I mean,
there's a fundamental difference, I think, between the thought is, why go do this convention and pay all this money to get a little bit of attention while everybody else is doing the stuff. But for me, the way that I'm looking at it now is it's the difference between having all of this exciting stuff happen in one centralized place versus just having this stuff shown to me on websites that I go to every day, basically, because I'm not going to watch these events live or anything like that. I'm probably going to see an article that summarizes it or something like that after the fact.
exactly.
So it's,
I feel like E3 in general, the way it kind of works out is that if you're a bigger event, okay, Sony's showcase, okay, they benefit from the show a lot less than your smaller people. Ultimately, this hits your smaller studios a lot harder, because when you're a smaller studio, now I've never been, but it's just how it works. If you have, if you can show up and be next to these other booths, you get that much more attention by the people who are around you. You know what I mean? So this is actually hurting the small guys again.
The booth that you really don't want to be next to?
John Wilkes.
Oh, yes, you got it. Right here, come on. Oh, man. Oh, my God. Wasn't that so funny? Here, real quick. Thank you.
Dang. All right.
White Girl Wednesdays. White Girl Wednesdays.
That's never going to be a thing.
Why not?
No.
I'm making it a thing.
No.
We each have don't we each have a few, as co-owners of this, don't we each have a put our foot down moment with a thing?
If you want to put your foot down on White Girl Wednesday,
White Girl Wednesday.
My goodness.
Okay. On to the next.
Wait.
Whoop, whoop.
While in
Whoop.
While in pre-show, it is really entertaining. For the actual show, no, it's not going to be a thing.
Bitch, I'll never forgive you for this.
Okay. So that brings on the next piece of news. Sony is planning a PS5 conference for as early as next week.
Oh, get hype, baby. I'm so excited. Oh, man. This is what I've been waiting for.
By the time this show airs, which is a long time from now, it could actually have already happened.
Yeah, so this might, as early as next week, basically. What? This will come out Tuesday.
Yep.
So as early as next week, it could be Monday.
It could. But
or we could be saying, hey, it's happening today. So, if it happens any day that's, before Tuesday, get stoked, man, it's today. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, dog, you missed it.
Oh, man, you missed it. You should have seen it.
Man.
Wait, you didn't see that yet? We did on Wednesday or something. I don't know.
Okay. Sony Corp. I'm sorry. This is an article by Jason Schreier. I always mess up his name.
Jason Schreier. Jason Schreier.
And Takashi Mokizuki. Okay, so we actually did talk on it a little bit before, but I did actually see a tweet from Jason earlier today that it is official that he is now with Bloomberg. So that is actually happening.
I think this is like his second article with Bloomberg.
Yep. So they write, Sony Corp is planning a digital event to showcase games for its next generation PlayStation 5 that may take place as early as next week, according to people with direct knowledge of the matter.
No. The what? No, it's at the mail.
Ooh, according to people. According to people.
According to people. People know. You don't know?
Yeah,
Well, you're not people.
The virtual event could be held June 3rd, though some people...
Spinal... Sorry. Go on.
Though some people also cautioned that plans have been in flux and that the date may change. I mean, other PlayStation events may follow in the coming.
The coming.
I hate that whenever we're recording, I cannot read. I swear I can read.
Oh, you're gonna find like a, you know, what's the story about the heart underneath the floorboards?
Telltale Heart.
Right. It's gonna be like that with the recording room, where I just have like a mechanism under the floor that makes you like read worse, so that I sound like the better reader. Moving on.
In the coming weeks and months, and Sony is not expected to reveal every essential detail on the console during its first presentation. Okay. I wouldn't expect them to, but it's about time for them to show us something a little more. I mean...
Yeah. Okay, a couple questions for you, Joe. They've already shown off the controller. Do you think they go more in-depth with the controller?
I hope not.
Okay.
I mean, I'm as excited for a controller as I think I can be about a controller.
Yeah.
I mean,
fair.
it's
But they're talking a lot about it.
No, I know. I heard this about how the haptic feedback might maybe be able to convey the sense of rain. Whoa.
Right, yeah.
Okay, Nintendo basically promised the same thing with the Switch, if you remember me telling you about that.
If I could get the same experience if I had a PS5 controller and I just had like Eileen with a little glass of water just doing that. Or baby, it's raining. She just goes over with a glass of water, just starts slapping me in the face with it.
Or I can just take and set up my PS5 outside, like on the sidewalk, and just like
just put it in a backpack. Like get a really long extension cord. Played it on my iWatch. My iWatch. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
It's an Apple Watch. I call it an iWatch.
It's the same damn it's an iPhone.
Did I just age 4 more years? I think I did.
Look, okay.
Sorry. So the virtual event could be held June 3rd.
Well, no. I actually wanted to get... Because I said, to be fair, the controller is big, okay? The controller's big because it's your main, mechanism through which you can... I mean, it's how you play the games. So, yes, it matters. Mm-hmm. But if they just come out and give me more information about the controller, I swear I don't know. I might just be done with Sony.
Well, I don't mean it'll be the whole thing. I mean, do you think they'll talk about it a little bit?
Oh, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll definitely talk about it.
Okay. And so it says like maybe not everything will be revealed. Like what would you expect them to reveal versus not reveal? You think they review like what the console looks like? Or do you think they reveal some games?
I think if they just reveal games, that'd probably be pretty disappointing. I actually think. I think everyone wants to just know what it's going to look like.
Because the actual verbiage from the article itself is Sony Corp is planning a digital event to showcase games for its next generation PlayStation 5. So it looks like it... Oh, man. Wouldn't it be so disappointing if like you hear that this is going to happen and you're like, yes, that Xbox games thing was so disappointing. Come on, Sony. And then they just like have a very
all
similar...
third party.
Yeah, like... Because I think that what I'm looking forward to is like Bloodborne 2, you with Horizon 2. Like if they don't show that stuff, it's going to be a little disappointing, right?
I want to know what it looks like more than anything else. I honestly do. I know I'm probably alone there, like, but I really don't...
Are you one that like the look of it would make a change?
I'm not gonna buy it, depending on what it looks like. I just want to know. I just want to know. I want to see.
Oh yeah,
it.
I definitely want to know that for sure. But like in the long term, like, do I want to see what it looks like, or do I want to see games?
I mean, the more I think about it, yeah, I want to know what's coming. I mean, you say Bloodborne 2, and I'm like,
rumor. This is an old rumor, by the way. That maybe we won't get a Bloodborne 2, but maybe Blue Point Games, who's long worked with Sony on I think they worked with them on Shadow of the Colossus remake or whatever.
Yep.
They might be working on a Demon Souls remake or something like that. That's been out in the ether for freaking ever, so I don't know if that's real. But a FromSoft game, something like that, I'm down with because I like those games. So
I would love to see them do something new, because Bloodborne was a departure from the Dark Souls. I mean, it followed a lot of the same stuff. I would love to see them do something new.
Well, they were supposed to do that Elden Ring thing with J.R.R. Tolkien or whatever. No, George R.R. Martin.
I did see that. That was, what was that, 3 months ago? That was a thing. That was right before we started doing all this.
Oh no, that was a while ago. But
was it longer than that?
But either way, they haven't shown anything for that, so I don't know.
Well, they're probably. Hopefully, they've been holding on to that to talk about on
right,
next gen. That would be awesome, because
maybe we get a Spider-Man announcement. Maybe we get a new God of War. Who knows? I don't know.
Okay, you've convinced me. I want to see what they have.
Right.
But if it's if they're talking third-party games and not first-party or second-party, I really could care less about this event.
Right. Yeah.
Unless they actually show the console.
That's why they won't tell us what exactly is going to be in it. They're just going to say games and just leave it, because then I don't know. I have to be interested. I have to tune in, and then I can just be disappointed if it's not. If it's not Horizon 2, I'll be sad.
Dude,
I know that's your dream.
Horizon, I'm trying, you're doing me a disservice right now. Mm-hmm. You really are, because I'm trying my best not to be hype about it, because every time I get super hype about a game, I'm always disappointed.
Yeah.
And I think that's the law of the universe. The more you anticipate something, the less fun it is. That's why I've really not cared about Last of Us until right now.
Well, I think that it's weird, because what do you want from a Horizon 2 is what I'll ask.
Oh, good grief.
If it was just more Horizon 1 and it just looked prettier, would that be okay? Because I feel like that's what Last of Us 2 is. It's just more Last of Us, but prettier and a little different, and people are kind of disappointed with it. They expect something revolutionary different.
I really don't know, as far as Last of Us goes, because of the way Last of Us... This is obviously trying to avoid saying anything too much about the games. Mm-hmm. Because of the way The Last of Us went.
Right.
As a game and as a story, it can be more of the same and it still makes sense. Okay, yeah. And now they're just telling a different story, and I'm cool with that. Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with more of the same if it's a continuation of the story, because that just means it's a longer game. It'd be if they took 1 and 2, put them together, and said this is one game, and you wouldn't know the difference.
Gameplay wise, if you were still just using the same weapons and just it was the same basic shooting robot dinosaurs with bows.
I'm cool with that. I mean, as long as you're make quality of life changes.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that. But the problem with Horizon is that the story leaves it in a way, without trying to ruin too much, is that I don't see how you could continue on in that way.
It just interests me, because we're looking at a very high profile exclusive. It's been rumored to get a sequel with the next gen, and with next gen people expect almost a reinvention of the wheel, but I feel
I don't think we're getting that.
I don't either, and I don't want people to think that means the game's bad, or I don't. It feels like the expectations can be too high sometimes for stuff like that, and
I've been saying every episode so far that I really don't see this next generation as a big leap.
I think the generation is going to be a big leap in technology and performance, but I don't think that it's going to be a big leap in game design. I think a lot of stuff's just going to look very similar. I think you're going to get, I think prettier games that we can already play.
And I don't think they're going to get that much prettier. I think they're going to get, just performance-wise, you're going to see a lot of improvements. Yeah. I mean, that's my honest opinion. I don't think we're going to... I know we've seen what we've seen as far as graphical improvements, like seeing Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really impressive, but I'm like, it's not groundbreaking, I don't think. I think the coolest thing there was what they did with the audio and having the rocks fall, and it's actually mapping the audio off of where the rocks actually fall, and not just some guy standing in a room and he's like, I'm going to drop some rocks and that's what they're going to sound like. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's really impressive, actually, what they did there. Anyway, let's talk about Scribbles.
Yeah, some next-gen games. Well, I mean, obviously this is not an announced next-gen games, but being on the next-gen train, we can talk about a definitely next-gen game in GTA 6 whenever it decides to come out. So there was an analyst that came out. His name, analyst Jeff Cohen. He's from. I'm just gonna find out real quick. He's from Stevens. Either way, he's an analyst who basically looked at the marketing budgets for Take-Two that they have already announced for all the way out to 2023 and 2024, and their budget is supposed to be like $89 million set aside for that year, which is a significant increase from the other years leading up to that. So basically, he took that as a way to bounce off and say, "This is when I think that GTA 6 will come out." Okay. And so. That caught wind with news outlets, and then Rockstar came out and said Take-Two came out and said that that's speculation, and marketing for Grand Theft Auto would be undertaken by Rockstar, who's an owned subsidiary of Take-Two, for marketing the game, and that the marketing budget for Take-Two that he was referencing was basically for like other games that they published. So they kind of poo-pooed that whole idea, but it was interesting speculation nonetheless, and I think that it's a good jumping off point to talk about like what we want from the next GTA, or where we'd like it to be, or what time period we would like it to be, because they leave themselves open to all kinds of stuff like that.
As you and probably our viewers could guess, like GTA is not like my my main cup of tea.
It's not my bag, baby.
I wouldn't say it's not my bag. I haven't played since it was either Vice City or San Andreas, and I want to say it was San Andreas was the last time I played. And
really?
Yes, really.
What don't you like, Joe?
It's
what doesn't appeal to you?
So I don't know. I'm not. It's just. I'm wanting to get into playing GTA 5 with you guys now that it was free on the Epic Store. We talked about that, and I did download it. We haven't played it since, but I am interested in giving it a shot and seeing what it's about. I'm not saying that it's not for that. I have a problem with it, or it's just it hasn't been anything that's really like called to me.
Yeah.
I got my fill of San Andreas, and like I was telling you, like my main fun in that game was just running up the cop meter and just running from cops.
Okay.
Just going around doing nothing.
So if that's the main appeal for you, I feel like I could that would change what I would say to you is what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is that I had my fill of that.
Yeah.
That's not what appeals to me anymore.
Right.
Like I want to actually be in it for the experience. And so like I feel like probably the best thing they could offer in a GTA 6 is, and I know I've heard about GTA 5 has a great story.
Yeah.
Well then that's what I want.
You want a good story.
I want like nail the story and I'm there.
You don't need to wait for that if you haven't played since GTA San Andreas, because GTA 4 and GTA 5 both have really good stories, and you should play them because they're not that long and I love them.
I would like to take this article and just like kind of speculate on timing.
Yeah,
we were talking about that a little bit.
We were talking.
We were talking about that a little earlier.
Boy, I'm looking too big for camera. I got to start talking. Okay, So 2023, 2024, I think we mentioned that.
That's what they're speculating.
Right.
This article.
And
Scribbles.
Scribbling stuff down. I hope his parents named him later in life after he took on like a love for writing, and they were like, "Oh, he just likes to scribble. Let's call him Scribble." Oh man. So when we were talking previously, I said that it took like 6 years ish for Red Dead 2.
Right.
So in order for them to be making a GTA, you would assume that it would take about as long, maybe a little longer. So you're looking at like 2016 to 2018 for like development start. If you want to give like an 8-year to 6-year development cycle for it to be out in 2023, 2024. And I just don't know.
Okay, so GTA 5 2013. I don't think they would have started development on GTA 6 immediately after launching GTA 5. I mean, whether or not they would have had people working on Red Dead or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they started it. I think they probably started development relatively recently.
Yeah.
Okay. When I say recent, I mean like maybe 2-3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I don't think we're going to see as long as a time frame as that 6 to 8 year cycle you were talking about, because they were talking about they've been saying that when they announced the GTA 6, which everyone knew was coming anyway, when they were talking about it, they said
I don't
that
think it's been officially announced yet. I think that there was just more rumors about.
Well, but the studio themselves actually said GTA 6 in the article.
Yeah.
When they were talking about.
So yeah, it does exist. But.
Exactly. So it's there. That's as much of an announcement as you can get. But then when they were talking about it, they were talking about crunch culture and how they're they want to launch with an initially smaller GTA.
Yeah, and then they wanted to add on to it.
Exactly.
Which.
So that tells me that we're not looking. Yeah, that shows me that we're talking about not as long as a cycle. Okay.
Right.
So maybe we're looking at 4 or 5 years, which would put me at an estimate of, I'm saying, late 2021 to 2023. Okay.
So I could look at it a couple different ways, right? Because they've had, since 2013, they've had GTA Online be a thing. And they've learned a bunch of stuff from that, right? About having a constant product that they're constantly updating and stuff like that. So you could either look at it from, they released GTA 4 and GTA 5, both on, oh, that wine, I'm sorry. They released both of them on last gen consoles. Like both came out in the 360 PS3 life cycle of consoles. So if they wanted to do something like that, where they release 2 games per generation, then they would have to start early. But also
trying to aim towards launch window.
But technically, with this generation, they've only released one, and it was a port of a previous generation's game. With GTA 5, they only really released one in this entire generation. So I don't know. The thing that it suggests to me is maybe they do release it more towards the middle of the middle of the decade, basically, so that they can create this perpetual thing where they keep making money off of online. They keep releasing pieces of content for single player.
You think they're going more 24, 25?
I don't know. I mean, it seems like a really long time to have between GTAs, though. If it came out in 2013 and then you're talking about 2024, you're talking, 11 years between GTAs, which is
what they're talking about at Bethesda.
Yeah, where they're way off. Yeah, the difference between
Skyrim came out when, and
2011.
They're talking about like 2026.
Yeah, it's a couple. It's many years off.
Yeah.
Well, the main point is I don't know if they're basically going to say like we are going to release GTA games like we did in the past, where we're going to release, one or two a generation, or maybe just one a generation, or if they're going to go with a perpetual model where they release one somewhere towards the start but not the middle of the generation, and they just try to make it live as a product through the whole generation.
I can see that. I just think that this one's going to be a little closer to the launch of the system. I see what you're saying. I think they're going to try to live off. I agree with you. They're going to try to live off their online community for a while. But I think they're going to want to be pretty... I'm going to stick with my dates. I think late 2021 at the earliest, but I'm more reasonably 2023.
Yeah. I just wonder what it means for single player mostly, because online I'm less interested in, and also like I could see the nature of online is perpetually updating stuff. But with GTA, they've never released a game where they've released like a smaller landmass and then added landmasses. They've used the one giant map and added content to it, like with GTA 4, where they had expansions, but they were just like story content on the same map. But I wonder if the way that they hinted at it was maybe that they're starting with a smaller piece of the land and then they introduce more areas afterwards.
I mean, I think that's probably about right. What you just made me think, that is what I'm really concerned about. Well, like what I was just saying is, for me, if I were coming back to the series, I want them to do something more campaign wise.
Yeah.
I am a little afraid of, like, they have this huge online thing. If they're going to focus mainly on the online play and then they let the story suffer, the single player suffer, that's a scary thought.
I just like that you could leave the single player separately from the online if you wanted to. And what worries me is that they'll integrate them too much to each other.
Right. Like that has been.
But GTA as a series has always been, before 5, they had like a multi-island kind of setup, a multi-area kind of setup, where you would unlock different parts of the map as you played through the game. So I think that, they were all in the initial package, but as the story progressed, you unlocked different parts of the map. So I think there would be a very easy transition for them to say, well, we used to make maps this way anyways. What's wrong with just releasing a single area and then releasing the next part instead of all of it at once?
Right. No, I think that's probably how they're going to approach it. I mean, it just makes sense.
Right. Are you a fan of wrestling that lives in the Pittsburgh area? Do you enjoy punk rock? How about diversity and inclusion? Well, Enjoy Wrestling, a new promotion set to launch in 2020, is here for you. Though they're a startup, the folks at Enjoy have years of experience booking punk shows, promoting bands, and putting out records. They're also pretty well versed in wrestling, too, having done commentary, videography, graphic design, and social media for many high-profile independent companies. Enjoy Wrestling wants to bring the most talented wrestlers out there to Pittsburgh, regardless of gender, race, or sexual orientation. That same ethos applies to their audience as well, as they strive to create an inclusive and diverse wrestling community aimed at developing a supportive environment for marginalized fans. You can find Enjoy Wrestling on Twitter @EnjoyWrestle, on Instagram @Instagram.com/EnjoyWrestling, or you can contact them directly via email at enjoywrestlingpgh@gmail.com. You want to get into the new segment, Quick Hitters, boy?
Yeah, I was looking at this one, the Xbox Live games with gold for June.
It's gonna go back up on the screen. The Xbox, it's coming back for another week.
Oh man,
I love it.
So I didn't actually see in this article, what is it that's coming? Help me out here, buddy. Okay, I got Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, Coffee Talk, and Destroy All Humans, and Cinemora. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know what Cinemora is, but it's gonna. Lastly, Cinemora is a side-scrolling shooter with time manipulation gameplay thrown into the mix. Boom. Okay, so
this is the quick hitters. This is our new thing.
Yes.
So we just hit things real quick.
So quick hitters is we just go through some relatively quick news where we just talk about it's like basically like, what's your 5-word response to this
Okay.
happening right now, basically?
My 5-word response: Game Pass is awesome. That's not 5 words. And Shantae in the Pirate's Curse.
Have you played that?
That was a Game Boy Advance game originally, and it was fantastic.
Okay. All right. So those are your free games with gold for June on Xbox Live. This one I'm excited about. It's Always Sunny is renewed for a 15th season, making it the longest running comedy TV show of all time. Joe, what do you think? Have you seen It's Always Sunny? Are you a fan?
I've seen some of it, and like I think I've watched a couple seasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my kind of comedy, but I think it's hilarious.
Uh-huh.
I will admit it.
Is it too raunchy?
Raunchy?
Yeah. What's
I'm not
I had to even think what I mean by raunchy.
I'm not a big fan of the idiot comedy.
Okay,
like just people being stupid.
Yeah,
like
so they're all dumb, and you're like, why would you do this kind of thing? Yeah,
like I appreciate that they are funny.
Dude, you just told me that you like Goldfinger or Goldmember.
Hey, hold on now.
Hey, come on. No, you come on, Joe. I don't like idiot comedy, and you're like, I love all the Austin Powers movies.
I don't think it's idiot comedy. I think it's quite witty, as a matter of fact.
I will admit that it is pretty witty.
Welcome to 1975, Austin Powers and Fasha.
So, congratulations to them, I guess. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's a big accomplishment. I mean,
Yeah.
in the history of, Frasier, Friends, Cheers, all that kind of stuff, pretty impressive.
Yes, indeed.
Damn it, quick hitters. Stupid name.
Doctor Strange director Scott Derrickson set to direct Labyrinth 2.
Have you seen the original Labyrinth?
I
Do you like David Bowie?
Do you like David Bowie's Potato?
Oh man, the potato. I can't.
I know our wives absolutely love.
You want
Labyrinth.
5 words? I got 3 words. David Bowie's potato. Yeah, it's always women seem to love that movie more than men. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Shall we move on?
Yes.
Oh wait, no, we didn't actually talk about Doctor Strange.
I love Doctor.
Oh wait,
Strange.
no, because it's okay. No, it's about Labyrinth 2. Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with leaving it right there. But I mean,
How
Bowie's
can you have
dead.
a Labyrinth 2 without Bowie though?
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say.
Yeah, he's dead.
It was the way you said
I
that.
know.
Not the
Thank you. All right. Moving on. Logan's James Mangold is set to direct Indiana Jones 5.
Does this mean that we get to see a more mature Indiana Jones?
I don't know. I wonder if they're going, because Logan was a stylish movie in a sense. So I don't know if they're going. I don't know if they're going with necessarily the tone of Logan more so than applying the tone that the guy brought to it. But yeah, I don't know. A dark and gritty Indiana Jones just doesn't make sense to me. It's Indiana Jones. It's supposed to be like, it's supposed to be campy and Hollywood, I
will make a little whatever you want to call it here.
Yeah.
A little so Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark, okay? The bit where the guy melts, okay?
Oh yeah. The thing that scarred me when I was a child, yeah.
Hardcore.
My dad was like, "You'll love these movies. They're great. There's Nazis and melting people." Gee, Dad, thank you so much.
Like, I have to say, like, that game was PG, wasn't it?
I don't know. It was a movie. It wasn't a game.
Okay, well, here's my point.
I think it was.
So there was Gremlins and another movie that came out around the same time. I can't remember what the other movie was, but the way the rating system was, there really I know, I'm working on it. The way the rating system was at that time, there was basically PG and then there was R, and there was not such a thing as a PG-13, and it was because of Gremlins and the other movie that PG-13 was invented.
Nice.
And I'm actually wondering if Indiana Jones came before that period. Because
maybe
because that whole melting bit was pretty hardcore.
I feel like I feel like this whole thing is just somebody that was like, this whole generation is just a bunch of pussies. Like they would say that, but like when I was a kid, we watched we watched PG movies, or you were watching R movies. There was nothing in between.
Gremlins was hardcore too, if you remember Gremlins.
Dude, I'm still stuck on that guy's face melting. I'll never forget that.
Okay, we said our bit. Teaser suggests Star Wars Battlefront 2 is June's second PS Plus game. How do you feel?
So I played Battlefront 2. I think it's a good game. And I think free things are good.
I think free things are good also. So if this is like something you want to play, cool. But I'll say like I personally played it. I don't care.
No,
not even a little. There's plenty of other shooters that are way better.
From what I played from it, I agree. Like the shooting was fine. It looks like Star Wars, so that's cool. It sounds like Star Wars, so that's cool. And it's fun. But what I wanted from it was if they just ripped nothing but the starship fighting and just made that its own game. Because that was awesome. The starship fighting in that game is fantastic, and it needs to be its own game. Like a Rogue Squadron sequel or something.
Yes. Rogue Squadron 2. You remember? Or what was it called?
Yeah. They made Rogue Squadron 2. They made both of those games.
It was, on GameCube.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was...
Yeah.
I couldn't make it past, like, the second level.
No, those games were hard. I was also a child and stupid.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Oh, but it's that game and Call of Duty World War II are the PS Plus games for June this month. So that's pretty crazy. That's two pretty big shooters. I mean,
okay,
like top of their publishers list of games for that year that they came out.
Call of Duty World War II might actually care about checking out. I don't know.
I played the single player, and it's a lot of like, look at this, Joe. Look at this, Joe. Look at this. That's the whole game. It's Call of Duty. Look at this. This is what it is.
So maybe I'm not interested because I can just play more Warzone.
It was still fun. It was quick and whatever, but
Yeah. Is that the one that got all the crap because there was women?
No, that was the Battlefield.
Oh,
there was Battlefield 5 got all that.
Not women, not in my game.
There is a lady mission in that where you're like dressed up as like an SS officer, and you're like infiltrating a party and stuff. It was really actually really cool.
I hope
bought
by
that
now
game for Eileen.
I hope by now everyone is aware of my position on women in video games. Just to be clear. And what? I don't know. Like, I would prefer to play women in video games.
Yes.
And not because I'm pandering, but because there really is like is dearth like the negative or is dearth the positive?
Dearth is
lack, right?
Dearth is the lack, girth is the
No, I meant there's a whole ton of games that you can play as men. So whenever I get an option to play as a lady, I take it.
You know what I just found about? You know what I just found out about? Is this thing in front of me that lets me look stuff up real quick. Yes, it's the scarcity or lack of something.
Hey, look at that. There's like this device that lets you look things up.
Dearth Diggler.
Suicide Squad director David... I already read the last one. Director David Ayer says...
Slow down, let me get there.
Says that Suicide Squad director's cut would be easy to complete. I guess I will read this one. Suicide Squad director David Ayer says that... Is that right? Ayer?
Ayer. Let me throw your hands in the air. Ayer.
Says that a director's cut of his DC Universe movie would be easy to complete. Ayer made the comments in a tweet... Monday, responding to a Collider. What in the world? It's like they're speaking French. I don't understand.
Responding to a Claudio Eldido asking why DC did not release this cut of Suicide Squad on a service like HBO Max. This is a good question, Aerospawn. My cut would be easily to complete. It would be completely cathartic for me. It's exhausting getting your ass kicked for a film that goes like Edward Scissorhands treatment. This film I made has never been seen. It is like French. I wanted to complete my article. I took it back from you. Anyhow.
Okay. It's exhausting getting your ass kicked for a film that got the Edward Scissorhands treatment. I don't understand what that means. Like, Edward Scissorhands is a cult classic.
Did they cut a bunch of it, though? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know the history of Edward Scissorhands.
Me either.
If you do, that quote means a whole lot to you, but to me it doesn't. I just the thing that we wanted to ask about this is like, do we really want there to be like, if there's a movie that underperforms, right, and there's a director that people are like, we want to see their cut of it, you know, and it's like a big fanboy film. Like if there was to be a bad Star Wars film or something, and they had to do a bunch of reshoots and stuff, and the original director was like all upset about it, and then they were like, release my cut of the Star Wars film. Like, is this going to be a thing moving forward where fans just complain until they get this crap?
It seems like that's the time we're living in, but I really hope not. Yeah. I'm so over it. I'm already.
Yeah, you shot your shot. You're done.
Yeah.
You tried to make this movie. It wasn't good, and you probably made the right call in saying this is bad.
How many different versions of Blade Runner?
Oh, that's true. There were so many versions.
And now that's like a completely different thing. I'm just saying, like, do we really need to do this? Like,
you bringing up Blade Runner
has
me thinking about the Nonsensory Recommends.
Are you gonna put Blade Runner in your?
No, for another one. I'll keep it in my hat. I'm actually going to note it underneath mine and say use it for the next one. Okay.
Well, then you just spoilers.
No, because
next episode.
No. Maybe I'll. No.
Okay. So I think that's enough on that. I think it's dumb. I don't think we need to do this. You get what you get. If you wanted to do something better, you should have done something better when you had your shot.
Yeah, it's just
like, I will give it to Justice League. He did Zack Snyder. He didn't get to complete his movie because of whatever happened, right? So getting the chance to actually do it the way he wanted to do it is a legitimate argument. But just saying, I want to do it over.
Okay,
again.
You give that to Zack Snyder, right? Then I mean, this stuff happens in movies, is what I'm saying.
It does.
The more that we start watching franchise-based, like big budget, stuff like that, and whenever they run into trouble and they have to switch directors, are we going to run into this every time from here on out? I don't think that the movie companies actually care, because they know that they can make you go and see it again. Like, who cares if they're playing off the drama if it gets you in the seat to go see the blah 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 cut of a movie that you've already seen,
Absolutely. If you're one of these studios, yeah, you don't care. It's going to make you tons of money.
Well, especially now when it's really hard to get people into seats and you're already banking on these franchises. Like, why not make people double dip and say like, oh, here's the special edition that you were never supposed to see.
Yeah. So you're gonna get Blade Runner version 17.3. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the last bit of news that we have is actually news that should have happened but ended up not happening. Like as we were starting to record this, so NASA was supposed to launch in conjunction with SpaceX a rocket, and it was going to be the first time that basically I'm going to use like weird terminology, but like a third-party person, like a third-party company coming in and basically launching something into space with the regulations of like a NASA project,
like a non-government funded company is going to be putting people into, attempting to put people into space. I'm going to say what I said before, but better. The boomers managed to put people on the moon.
Uh-huh.
Our generation is going to put people on Mars. Like,
I mean, I hope. I mean, it depends what that means. We could do it and it could be bad, or we could do it and it could be good. But it will be a thing that we try to do.
yeah.
So they were supposed to launch today, May 27th, but astronauts with astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley on the Crew Dragon spacecraft. That's the name of, I guess that's the code name of the spacecraft is Dragon.
Okay.
So they were going to the ISS, and if they're successful, it'll mark the first ever privately owned company to send humans into space while meeting NASA's certification requirements. So, yeah, I mean,
it's still going to happen. It was just delayed.
Yeah,
so
it was
this is
delayed.
still cool.
So they're going to try to do another launch Saturday, May 30th at 3:22 p.m. So this coming Saturday. PM Eastern. So 3:22 p.m. Eastern, 12:22 p.m. Pacific.
So, do you remember that time that Elon Musk actually made a really awesome flamethrower?
Yeah.
Yeah. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but like the guy's weird.
Yeah, the guy's weird. I think. I mean, what did he name his kid? It's something. It's like something like Derek, but it's also like it looks like when we came in and I was like, "Oh, my cat walked on your keyboard."
Yeah,
And then the dock was still all discombobulated and stuff. It basically looks like that. It looks like his cat just like walked across the keyboard, licked its butt, and then got up and walked across it again. And he was like, "That's beautiful, man."
I mean, that's a really not nice thing to say about his kid's name, but I actually don't know what it is. I've never seen it.
I have nothing. No, look, Elon's kid, whatever the hell your name is, whatever clicks or whatever I got to smack off of to make it sound like whatever the hell that is. This is nothing against you, kid. I'm sure you're a lovely kid, but your dad's an idiot at everything except space travel and electric cars.
No, whoa.
He's not an idiot. He's eccentric.
Elon,
Is that better? Is that a more appropriate word? Eccentric.
Elon was my dude before the right started to embrace him because like the left started hating him.
I respect Elon for what he's done with these companies, and that it's grounded in an admirable thought, a respectable thought of like wanting to make people energy independent and to be able to explore the stars and advance the human race in that way. I respect that, but he's freaking weird, man.
Yeah, he's weird.
Yeah, anybody that's been on the Joe Rogan podcast is like simultaneously cool and probably weird and probably doing DMT. But
He could be.
with our next podcast, this will have happened hopefully without inclement weather again.
Yeah, so
it is a historic event.
This is the coolest thing. I mean, I feel like I try so hard not to get too much into like the political sphere or anything, and I'm trying not to do that here, but I feel like our generation is really like we're just not ambitious, man. And seeing stuff like this, like, it's pretty damn cool.
I'm of the opposite opinion, Joe, and I think that our generation would have loved to see this stuff like 20 years ago.
No.
But we haven't been able to do it.
Our entire generation is all nihilistic. Nothing matters anyway. Who gives a dang? You know, that's our generation.
But if people think that way, then I think that they're dumb. Because what I think,
I love you.
What I think is that I've always wanted us to continue to support NASA, and we haven't supported NASA with the budgetary capabilities that we have. That maybe not saying that this would have been we would have been doing this 20 years ago.
Okay.
But
We're way over our quick hitter time.
Yeah,
But
right,
before we jump off, you're absolutely right. And I think that the reason that NASA started losing, we were talking about this earlier, losing like budget and stuff, like the problem there is that people didn't appreciate the fact that technology that was developed for the space program ends up filtering down into your everyday life through time. And I mean, like, the same thing is true in cars. And I'm not trying to, but like that's my know-how. Okay, I know cars. I'm not gonna nerd out too hard here. I'm just gonna say there's technology that's been developed in like the hypercar, supercar space, and everyone's like looks at those cars and it's like, oh, $1 million cars. Oh, it's so wasteful. It's so stupid. It's, it's pointless and blah, blah, blah. But the technology that goes into those cars eventually makes it into the regular cars that you drive.
Right. Yeah, they had Bluetooth and like backup cameras. I mean, back in the day. And
forget even that, like torque vectoring, like the ability to transfer power from one wheel to another wheel so that you keep grip on the road. It's something that almost every car on the road has now, and it started because somebody wanted to, go faster.
Torque vectoring is cool and everything, but like, what about my PS2 in the back seat? What about? That's why Exhibit spoke to a whole generation of Americans.
What I'm trying to say here is that it's the same thing in the space program. That technology ends up coming back to us. So while it seems like we're spending money on something that's like, oh, good, you launched more people on a rocket, woo-hoo. It's like, well, no, that stuff matters.
It's a step on the ladder to being able to maybe colonize and send people to planets.
I mean, who knows what things they'll come up with in the pursuit of that?
Right.
Even if we never make it to Mars, the technologies that get developed because we try to, like, we can't imagine.
God damn it, Joe. That's beautiful.
So that's the end of our quick hitters that ended up not being as quick.
They were quick enough.
Quick enough, except for the last one. But we waxed poetic.
All right, we're changing the name of that segment to Relatively Quick Hitters for Us. Relatively for Us Quick Hitters. I'm doing it right now. You can't change it.
He actually is doing it. So we're going to get into our next bit, and I'm very excited to announce it, though Evan did it earlier. Nonsensory Recommends is the new bit that we're going to do. That's what we like to call it. And this is where we each pick one of 3 topics, movies, TV show, and game. Well, we pick a thing from each of those topics.
Yes, sir.
And to recommend to you, the audience, because we want you to find things that are awesome. That's what we're about.
And so hopefully each episode we give you something new between us two.
Yes.
But also, if it's something that you have already seen, already played, whatever, that you really like too, maybe just leave a comment and gush about it and what you love about it. And
that'd be great.
And we'll read it. And we'll consider it. And maybe we'll read your comment on the air.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. We would love your participation in the comment sections. On iTunes, you can go and review us. If you like, those really help. It especially helps us with, being found on iTunes and stuff for people. So anything that you guys can do, visit us on social media, all that stuff. We love the engagement with you guys. We would love to have more engagement with you guys. So
I can take it if you want, or you can take it.
Go ahead, Joe.
Whichever.
You start it out.
Okay.
Because I'm interested because I haven't heard of this.
No, I've told you about this movie, but you guys haven't watched it yet. But that's okay. That's okay, because maybe this will lead you into it.
Okay.
So my movie this week is a movie called Perfume. Oh, whoa, I lost my tab. Perfume, the story of a murderer. So I'm going to read the synopsis here. With his incredible talent for discerning scents, Jean-Baptiste Grenouille is one of 18th century France's finest perfumers. He becomes obsessed with capturing an elusive aroma, the scent of young womanhood.
You have told me about this, yeah.
Yep. His search takes a deadly turn, and when the bodies of 12 young females are found, panic breaks out, with families rushing to lock up their daughters. It was released December 27th, 2006. I'm trying to find... Alan Rickman is in it.
Oh, instant watch. Thank you.
Dustin Hoffman's in it.
Oh, man.
Yes. This movie is probably like the best movie that no one's heard of.
You described the movie, and I was like, I'm in. And then it was basically like you added coleslaw and French fries to that sandwich with Alan Rickman and Dustin Hoffman.
It's serious. This movie is like, it is so friggin' fantastic. I will say, I feel like I'm the kind of guy like I have to have disclaimers. It is really artsy and it is really like, they like focus on the grotesque and the gory a little bit.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not as bad as it's not as bad as a Doom Eternal gore wise, I'd say.
Okay.
But it's got its like, so there's the opening scene in the fish market, like almost made me throw up. But the movie in itself and the story and everything, it's so brilliant. And I mean, I think I don't want to turn anyone off from it, but it's really worth a watch.
Okay.
My TV show is Gallivant.
Gallivant. Oh yes, this is an Eileen thing that she told me about.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna read about this one and look it up because it's great. You should watch it. It's on Netflix, I think, right now.
You read the synopsis and I'll find out where you can watch it.
Screenwriter Dan Fogelman, award-winning composer Alan Menken, and lyricist Glenn Slater. Pardon me. So you should have been keeping the tally for throat clears, because I realized in like the last little bit
I forgot all about it.
I've done like 30 of them.
Oh, I'm gonna hold you to this one day.
So there's another. Have teamed up to create an epic musical comedy fairy tale. A dashing hero named Gallivant embarks on a quest to restore his happily ever after when he loses Madalena, the love of his life, to King Richard. Gallivant is prepared to use many skills to win back his beautiful lady and avenge her, but he is surprised by the twists and turns he encounters along the way. As Gallivant's adventure continues, he makes startling discoveries about those he held dear and forms new, unexpected bonds. Wow, that write-up is terrible. I can see why the show wasn't as popular as it should have been. That write-up is awful.
So you were right. You can watch it for free on Netflix, and you can also find it on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Vudu, Amazon Prime. But I think you have to pay for all of those.
Yeah, but Vudu's great. Okay, that's another Nonsensory Recommends. Vudu. You don't recommend Vudu?
No, I recommend Vudu. I would like you to tell me what you like so much about Gallivant.
Gallivant? It's hilarious, and I love singing. I know you've said that you're not huge into the musicals and stuff.
Okay. Moment of truth time on this White Girl Wednesday.
Oh boy!
Since
here
we
go.
We split a bottle of wine.
Yeah, it's already gone.
We're feeling ourselves. Joe, come here. So Joe, I've realized that my dislike.
Let go of my hand.
All right, never mind. No, I've realized that my dislike for musicals, I think, is just a reflection of my own embarrassment about having to perform in front of people.
Oh,
it's like I'm putting that on that.
I respect that.
It's like a reflection of my embarrassment, kind of my nervousness, and so I put myself in those shoes, and I'm like, oh, if that was me, I'd be like, oh man, kind of maybe. May 27th, 2020. I learned something about myself today.
I respect that. I really do. I just they do a lot of really comedic musical numbers, and that's something that I've always loved. So I mean, I don't know. That's what I like about it.
Okay,
they're very funny.
There's 2 seasons.
They're very comical. The only thing that sucks about the show is that there isn't a season 3.
All right. This was a BBC show? UK?
No, I think it was NBC.
Really?
Yeah.
This is from 2006, you said, right?
No, that was...
that was the other thing.
Yeah,
This is from 2015.
Yes.
Okay.
First episode was January 4th, 2015.
Okay.
Yep.
And your game, Joe.
And finally,
Non-secular podcast.
Nonsensory Recommends. Joe's take. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Have you played this game before?
I have.
Really?
I have played Final Fantasy Tactics, yes. Not Advance, but I mean, I've
Okay,
played
it's a
Final
different-
Fantasy Tactics.
So you played Lion War. So that was the one on the PSP, and I think it was just called Final Fantasy Tactics when it was on the PS1.
There was a PS1 version of Final Fantasy Tactics.
which was just Tactics, yeah.
Yeah.
So Lion War and Tactics were the same game. Advance and Advance 2 are completely different.
What's different about them?
Story-wise. I mean, gameplay,
Oh.
they're very similar, but they do, like, quality of life changes. And, like, you know, they update moves and, you know, like, movesets are way different because even Tactics Advance 2 and Advance, the original, are way different. Just between those two, the way that they... the skills and things and the way the jobs work. But I'll read the... My mic just stopped holding itself up. Pardon the noise. I'm sorry.
Forhims.com for your microphone.
Not a sponsor. So the write-up. The world of Final Fantasy returns to Game Boy Advance. When March, I've never known actually how to say his name. I've never had to say it out loud. And his friends, Mute and Ritz, open an ancient musical... Oh, my goodness. Just fire me.
A mutant.
Just fire me already.
A mutant musical.
When March and his friends, Mute and Ritz, open an ancient magical tomb, their small town of St. Ivolus transforms into a kingdom of swords and sorcery known as Ivolus. Okay, the same name. To return his world to normal, March must join a clan and take up sword to learn magic and fight his way through dozens of tactical battles. Ultimately, he must unravel the riddle of the crystals, the magical stones that are the key to restoring his home. You should just Joe, get out of here.
Joe.
You can't read. You can't even read good.
I told you it's like the Telltale Heart.
Joe, you can't read good. You need to get out of here. All right.
So I guess. Oh my god. Something wrong with my balls. I guess you can play this game on the Virtual Console.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I was just
on
looking
Switch.
On Switch? Oh well.
If you can play this on Switch, I'm gonna go home and spend money right now.
The Wii U Virtual Console.
Womp womp.
Oh, you remember that? You remember that, Nintendo? Remember that for the rest of your existence, because that was a terrible console and you should feel ashamed about it.
I actually enjoyed having mine.
It was fine.
The problem with I've said this before, I'll say it again. The problem with the Wii U was that everyone wanted the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what the Wii U was.
I will give it to the Wii U because it was the first console to embrace the fact that if I was on the couch, I could take it into the bathroom and take a dump while I played.
No, that's the problem with the Wii U was that you couldn't get more than so many feet away from the system.
But, Joe, when I was living in our small little apartment, the distance was short enough that it still worked.
For you, maybe.
For me,
it wasn't
was
for
great.
me. Now, what was really cool about the Wii U was that now the Switch still has this. So that's my point exactly, is that the Switch is everything the Wii U was supposed to be.
Correct.
What's really awesome with the Wii U and the Switch is that if someone, like, your wife comes in and she's like, "Oh, I want to watch my show," and you're like, "Well, I'm still playing my game," which doesn't happen with my wife. She's awesome. You just grab the handheld part and you're like, "Okay," and that's it. No argument.
That's a perfectly reasonable thing to say, but I'm gonna stick with the fact that you could mess with it while you're taking a dump. Hear me out, okay? The place where I was living at was small enough that you could do that. But you know where else has really small apartments that most people live in? Freaking Japan.
Yes.
So maybe there was a bunch of people doing that with the Wii U in Japan, and they were like,
I think
this is fantastic. I don't want a world without this now.
Yes, that's how we got the Switch. Everyone was like, "Keep doing this." My dumps have gotten
better. It also
better.
follows the theory of like, if it seems ridiculous to do, but also reasonable, it's probably been done in Japan. So like, I'm sure that people had CRTVs and like, and Super Nintendos like right in front of their toilet. I don't know.
I will say, early on in my, so I've been trying to get a stream off the ground for like since way before we started working on this podcast.
Like a suspended stream?
No, like
a water slide?
No, like streaming online, like video games.
I know, man.
I know you know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so like I actually at one point was I would have my TV with the PlayStation. Like I'd be on my computer getting everything like working on stuff, and I'd have my TV in the living room, which is on the same wall that I'm on on my TV. Or on my computer, rather. I actually had I took a mirror and I set it up on the couch so I could actually look at my TV screen, and the PlayStation controller will actually bounce its signal off the mirror and hit the TV.
Here,
so I'd sit there and control my PlayStation.
Oh my God, this is a new level of laziness. I love it so much. I had a story related to this in that my friend Ben he had a laptop. His laptop kind of took a dump, and so we decided to get him like a computer tower. But then things with his laptop ended up becoming like better. Like he thought it was broken, so we got him a desktop, and then his laptop miraculously resurfaced like 2 years later, like perfectly fine. Long story short, when we set up the desktop, it's in his basement bedroom kind of thing that he had set up. And he hung...
Please tell me he set it up so he could control his computer from like the bathroom or something.
No, he set it up so that there was his bed, and there was he had a recliner. And he would spend a lot of time in the recliner, but he wanted to lean back. But it was uncomfortable for him to like lean back and look straight. Like with his neck cricked.
No,
so he hung the he didn't buy a monitor because they were too expensive. He didn't want to buy a monitor because they were too expensive. So he bought like a Vizio 32-inch television and hung it by like fishing wire to the ceiling of his basement so that he could lay back reclined and look up and play his games.
I think you just sold some fishing line.
Fishing line, like that should be a display at Walmart.
Yeah. So
we'll get into my list.
Yeah, it is your turn.
I'm excited to tell people about Victoria because
I'm really excited. Yes.
So Victoria is a 2015 German crime thriller film directed by Sebastian Schipper and starring Leah Costa and Frederick Lau. It is the thing that's unique about this movie is it is a continuous single shot. The whole movie is a continuous single shot.
That's awesome.
There are many movies that have attempted it, but this is one of the only ones that's like actually done it and been good, I guess. I don't know. But it basically follows this girl, Victoria. She's a Spanish girl. She's moved to Berlin, and she likes to go out and party. She's more like she works at a coffee shop, and she's kind of fly by night. And she works at, so she goes out to like clubs, like underground clubs in Berlin. And she meets up with this group of people. And they're younger guys, like, there's like women in it too, whatever. But it's basically just like she meets up with a group of partiers who all like to go and listen to electronic music and stuff, and
Right.
and they basically meet up and say like,
It's
hey,
Germany.
yeah. Like I'm just all I have in my head is Disco Viking, just like doom 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 doom, just walking down the street like doom doom. So they meet up, and the leader of the group of friends that meets up with this girl is obviously into her, and so they meet up, and he wants to like extend the night, and so he's like, we have this thing. I mean that too. He wants to extend that night and also extend the night.
Right.
And so he's like, hey, she for some reason like leads them back to her coffee shop. And they say like, after you close up, why don't you come hang out with us or whatever? And they end up taking her on a bank robbery.
Oh.
But they don't know that it's going to be a bank robbery. And then like stuff just unfolds, and then it's a bank robbery. And it is definite. It's not like, okay, we're the heist gang, and here's the cool one, and here's the black one, and here's like here's the driver and stuff like that. Like it's not like a stylish heist movie. It's like, oh crap, this sucks. These people have no idea what they're doing. They're just like they're small-time criminals thrown into basically like this ridiculous situation, and this girl's just with them, and she has no idea. Like I don't know if she has no idea what she's getting into until it's too late, or if she just is like a thrill seeker, like an adrenaline seeker kind of thing.
Oh.
But she ends up being caught up in this, and
This sounds amazing.
The fact that it's all one shot just adds to the tension, because the stakes keep getting raised as the movie unfolds, and the fact that it never cuts, you never have a chance to breathe. It's not that the scenes never slow down in pace, but it's just that there's always something happening, and when I watched this, I was on the edge of my seat. It was fantastic.
Dude, you've sold me. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm definitely checking this out.
It's amazing. Like again, it's a German crime thriller, so it's you're gonna have to read some stuff. You might have to use your brain and read some subtitles.
Oh, horror!
But it's great, and I think that it's available on Amazon right now. I think I looked it up the other day to recommend to a friend, and I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon. So
I'm gonna definitely watch this. I'm very excited for the next one on your list.
Yeah, because my TV show is an anime.
I can absolutely wholeheartedly.
Is it
agree.
White Girl Wednesdays or Weeb Wednesdays now? We've transitioned into Weeb Wednesdays because
Yeah.
we're talking about some anime.
I can absolutely wholeheartedly recommend this one.
Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood. There's two. Okay, so there's two different versions of Full
Both
Metal
are good.
Alchemist.
Both are good.
Both are good. There's differences between.
I'd say Brotherhood is better,
Yes,
but
and I believe Brotherhood also is less long. Correct.
yes, and I think it more truly follows the manga.
Yes. So Full Metal Alchemist is a Japanese anime television series adapted from Full Metal Alchemist manga by Hiromu Arakawa. It's from the studio Bones, which is a great anime studio. And it came out in 2010. No, the final episode was in 2010. It came out in 2009. So basically it follows brothers Edwards and Alphonse Elric as they are raised by their mother, Trisha. Basically their father or their mom dies. Their father leaves one day and basically abandons them. He's always been somebody that
Dad leaves, then mom dies,
right?
So they're alone,
right?
And
go on.
I stole it.
It's
it
okay
from you.
if you have
Like,
if you
this
feel
is-
like you've got the explanation. To
Yeah,
the
'cause,
plot,
I mean,
'cause
I've-
we both
I've-
recommend this.
I've been into it since I was like 12, so yeah, I've got it. Dad leaves, mom dies. Their two kids all alone. Dad was an alchemist, and so they start going through his books, and they stumble upon some forbidden science, and they say to themselves, we can bring Mom back, and the whole story is basically the repercussions of attempting to bring a human being back to life.
Right. So their mom dies. They attempt to bring her back. They lose her. Edward loses his arm and his leg, and Alphonse is
His entire body.
And Alphonse is combined. He's confined to a suit of armor that Edward binds him to.
I think while this show definitely has a lot of it's strangely, they hint at a soul a lot for a show that's trying to be very anti. Like, there's a lot of anti-religious themes, but there's also there's more to people than just the physical body.
Yeah. So they basically both get raised by who is Winry in relation to them? She's just like a neighbor girl, basically.
They grew up together.
Okay, so they grow up together with this girl Winry. That when their mom dies, and they do all of this stuff with the alchemy that causes them to lose parts of their body and their whole body or whatever. They basically get raised by the Winry's grandma.
Yep.
And then they decide that they want to become state alchemists too. They go take the test. They become state alchemists, and then the whole story unfolds after that, basically.
Yeah.
And it's so damn good. It's so good, and it's like it's long, but it's not too long. The characters are interesting. Rory Mustang's fantastic. The bad guys are really freaking cool.
There's one particular bit that I really wish I could talk about on here, but I don't want to spoil it in case anyone actually does get intrigued by this, that we are going to talk about off camera.
Okay.
But Brotherhood they're both really good. Brotherhood takes it to a level of intensity. It ramps up to a point that just the original never hits, and it just stays there. And it's, oh man, riveting. That's the word.
Definitely one of my favorite animes of all time.
Yes. You have one more?
My last my last recommendation is, we've been talking a lot about maybe games that we'd like to see remade.
Dude, I can't believe I didn't
think of this
series
one. That we would love to see come back.
Yes.
And SSX is that series for me. We Tony Hawk's coming back. Tony Hawk 1 and 2 is coming back. I'm stoked about that. You're stoked about that. We've talked about it already.
Yes.
I would still say that this game is better than that.
I agree, actually.
In like,
I never thought I'd say
like
that.
fathoms better to me. In my opinion, I loved SSX Tricky in a special way. Not
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
The characters that they have all have different abilities, or like not different abilities, but different movesets. And you basically just build an Uber meter that lets you do like, some super trick that counts for like 1 billion points or whatever.
Yeah.
But as you do other tricks, and the tracks are all really cool.
Dude, the tracks are awesome.
There's races, there's trick attack. I think there were other modes or whatever, but it was just from this perfect time where, and they were releasing like all kind. There was like this is from EA Sports Big, which was like this really. It was like a sports runoff of like the Madden franchises and stuff like that, where they were more simulation. This was more like stylish and more fun arcade based.
Yeah.
And this was like SSX got really big, and then they did like NBA Street, and then they did there was like a dirt bike. There was like a dirt bike game that was very much like SSX.
I don't remember.
And there was like a snowmobile game and stuff like that. But this game is just fantastic. Like, it looked really good for the time. Like just playing it is just such a treat, and all the tracks are super awesome. They're like so over the top, and there's like a Japan track, and go on. Sorry.
No, because I'm interrupting you telling your recommends.
It's okay.
So
we've both played it, so
this game was special to me, and I cannot believe that somehow like I forgot all about it until just now. Wow. When I saw you wrote it down, and like, so I don't know if I talked on their show at all about a time where I was basically running away from home like every day. I would just go over to my buddy's house instead of go home after school and stuff. So my buddy Zach actually had a PS2 at a time when I think I basically had a Nintendo at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like just a regular Nintendo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I was there. That's when I was playing. I played, San Andreas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But he had Tricky.
Oh, man. It was so fun to play with friends, too.
That was the most fun. I was not great at it. It took me a long time to get the hang of it because obviously I was used to playing a Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to cut me some slack.
Right.
But that was like some of the most freeing moments in my young life, being able to play that at his place and not go home. And so, yeah, Tricky definitely holds a special place in my heart. That was a fantastic game.
Yeah, I'm just reading down. EGM gave it an 8.5 out of 10. Eurogamer gave it a 9 out of 10. Game Informer gave it a 9 out of 10. GameStop gave it a 9.5 out of 10. Like, for the day, people really loved it. And this isn't just my nostalgia glasses going, because I played it recently, actually, on an emulator, and it was so freaking good still.
No way.
It's still, yeah, it's fantastic. It's still so good. There's a ton of content. There's a ton of maps to play. It's fairly bare bones, like in terms of modes. It's like you do a free ride mode, you do a trick attack mode, or you do like a world circuit, and that's basically it. But that's all I ever needed, really.
Dude,
I'm gonna bring back another crazy game next week.
oh, I hope so.
Yeah,
Because you just like totally like threw me for a loop with this one. I would love to reapproach this game, like play it again after all this time, and actually having the ability
let's
now
do a let's play of it.
Yeah. Now that I can actually play video games, well, kind of. I mean, you saw me in Halo.
Look, we had to give you a hard time. I'm sorry.
I was doing all right. Okay, I just have a problem with. I approach everything like I can run in and just shoot everything.
Oh yeah,
like, bring it on.
I was doing that too, though. I was dying a lot just because, like, I don't care. Like, Halo is like just fight, like, because you, especially
Spartans.
If I was playing single player, I'd play differently because, like, obviously I don't want to die and then have to reload. But like, if we're playing Reach in co-op, and I died, you just back up for a second, and I come back. Like, who cares?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it's a whole different. But I'm just saying, now that I can play, I would love to replay this game because, yeah, and especially if you're saying it holds up as well to the test of time.
It still holds up because I think it's determining if a game holds up. You're comparing it to other things that have come out since, and there's not a whole lot of freaking snowboarding games.
No, there really isn't.
And the ones that have come out haven't been like this. They haven't been like arcadey, over the top stuff. They've been simulator games like that Steep game from Ubisoft.
Yeah, whatever.
You can tell that I like snowboarding games because I was looking at that game. I was like looking at Steep, like maybe I'll get that. That game looked interesting, okay, because you could just like helicopter yourself in somewhere on any point in the mountain and just go for a ride. Challenge your friends to.
That actually sounds awesome.
It sounds cool, but I never actually got to play it.
Okay. We have to get wrapping up.
Yeah. Anyhow, that is it for our Nonsensory Recommends. Joe, real quick, why don't you go over them again?
So my movie was Perfume, the Story of a Murderer. My TV show was Gallivant. And my game was Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
And my game, or my movie was Victoria, German movie. My TV show was Full Metal Alchemist. And my game was SSX Tricky. So yeah,
it's been a wonderful. I loved this episode. I've had a lot of fun.
Would you say that White Girl Wednesday was a success?
Stop it! Just stop it!
Stop it! It's not going to be a thing. Stop trying to make it a thing, Evan. It's not going to be a thing.
Wait, hold on. Mean Girls.
Is that your movie?
No, that's where it just came from.
Honorable mention to Mean Girls.
That's what you just did. That was wasn't it?
I don't know.
Don't make it a thing. It's not going to be.
That was my inner.
That was just your inner white chick
my
coming
femininity coming out. One bottle of wine deep, and I'm already.
All right.
Anyhow.
I think we've had it enough, obviously, for today. So we love you guys. Look for us on Facebook.
Yes, Facebook. You can find us at Nonsensory with Facebook. We tweet at Nonsensory1. Don't forget, you can also check out our Patreon. Link in the link below at patreon.com/nonsensorypod. And yeah, we're now on Stitcher. We're now on Stitcher.
Yep. And also don't forget, we had problems with our streams. We're still ironing it out, but we stream every Tuesday at 7:30. Check it out.
We attempt to stream every Tuesday
at 7:30. You may be entertained by how difficult that can be.
Yeah, if you love if you go to r/bad tech support or something like that,
maybe you'll have fun. So please check us out. We love you guys. Peace.
Peace out, guys. Take it easy.
Be easy. Be easy. You wanted to take my line. I gave it to you. Say it. Peace.
Be easy.